Yeah, well, bringing me back to Vegas it also reminded me that like you heard his Howard show when they got back. He seemed pissed. I've never heard him so pissed off, but he sounded so pissed. He's like, "So there's no stories. Like you guys didn't do anything. Like I wanted a whole show of stories." And it sounded like he
You
was
know
more.
what?
It was
Yeah,
a
I
weird. It
felt
was,
the same way. Like I said earlier, Ronnie, if you hang around Ronnie long enough, something crazy is going to happen. But the wedding was kind of tame. And sure enough, like a half hour later, Ronnie showed up with Howard and Beth and Joe, the other security guy. And Joe said something to Artie, and Artie just sat there and was like sedate. He was like, fine. Like, I don't know what Joe said to him, but Joe was able to calm him down within seconds.
it's another edition of Here's the Pitch, and my favorite former Stern cast member. Are you cast member? Person who worked on the Stern Show, Brian Phelan, right there. There he is again, folks. Look at Brian.
Hey, Brad, what's going on, man?
Oh man, I've missed you. Brian and I talk over different social medias. We've been talking about Aerosmith and bands and music, and I said, man, there's a lot of things that I remember about the show that I just want to get your take on when you were there. So, but first and foremost, you were at Ronnie's wedding. Congrats, you made the list. Tell us about
all. It was a good time.
Give us the rundown. What did you see from your end?
Yeah, so there was two parties. I only made it to the wedding. The first party was the pre-party, which was Wednesday night. That's when I got in Wednesday night late. So I missed that one, but I heard that was a little crazy. I heard Kurt Busch was a little out of hand. Not out of hand. He was just getting wild. I think he signed one of the guy's asses. Like he autographed one of the, not a chick's ass, a guy's ass. But that was kind of getting wild. But Ronnie's always had wild parties, and it's if you hang around long enough, something crazy is going to happen. But that was the wild party. The wedding was kind of tame, but it was great. It was a good time. We had a lot of fun. I saw a bunch of people I haven't seen in years. We hung out. It was a beautiful place. The Red Rock Casino, 5-star hotel, just on the it's like outside of Vegas, but it's still Vegas. It's not on the main strip or anything like that. Beautiful place. I got there Friday afternoon. I got in the elevator to go down to the pool. Open door. The door's open. Who's the first guy I see? Ronnie. He was already shot. His voice was shot. He's like, I gotta go up and get ready. So I saw him for a few minutes, and then we went to the pool, hung out with some people. Jason, Will, JD came down. How security guys were all there. Ronnie's partners and stuff like that. So we hung out, and then we all went back to the room, and we went upstairs, got dressed, and went to the wedding. So reception was awesome. Bubba was there. He actually recorded the whole ceremony. So if you go on YouTube and you type up Bubba Ronnie's wedding, he recorded the whole ceremony. He put that out there, which was cool. Elvis, of course, married them, which was kind of cool. He put all his songs into like the vows. He's like, "Are you gonna promise to love her tender and not leave her in Heartbreak Hotel?" And that was kind of cool, So he did a good job, the Elvis guy. They got married. Everybody, had the streamers. Richard Christie sat behind me and just blew off a streamer, and all this confetti just covered my wife, and she was just like, "What the hell?" Like she was just covered in confetti. So then somebody, I think Doug, blew off one. And this was kind of funny. Richard and Kristen, his wife, they showed up with drinks in hand from their room. They had like champagne. And when Doug blew off his confetti, it all went in Richard's drink, and he couldn't drink it anymore because he had a glass of confetti. But that was fun. We had a little, social cocktail hour afterwards. And then we had the main reception, which was awesome. Ronnie's son was the best man, so he got up, said a couple words, and then the best was Stephanie's girlfriend was the matron of honor, and she got up. She had the line of the night. She was like, "Growing up, we all knew Stephanie had daddy issues, but I really knew she had granddaddy issues." And the place lost it. I mean, it was a good 30 seconds of everybody just laughing, so that was cool to see. Everybody got a kick out of that. Even Ronnie laughed, Then, party started, everybody's dancing. We had some, Sal got up, spoke, did a couple words, JD, Bubba, he got up and said something like, "Yeah, Ronnie came to my wedding and made a speech. I don't know if I'm going to say the same thing. Maybe I'll just, change it up a little bit. So everybody go upstairs and make love to their wives." And, so he cleaned it up, which was cool, which was funny. And then, we got back to whatever, dancing and having a good time. And there was people there I haven't seen in 10 years. It was actually 10 years to the day, almost. It was like that week was when Howard TV ended. So, like, Brandano, Jason Will, a couple guys from the tapes team I haven't seen in years. So, I got to say, hang out with them, bullshit with them for a while, which was very cool. And it was just all around fun, man. It was a good time. We had fun. It was an enjoyable evening.
Yeah, it sounds like a lot of current guys from the show too. Did you get any dirt on like what it's like to work there now in this post-COVID time and what if
no,
they
not
enjoy?
dirt. Like I met Mamet a few years ago, and I didn't know anything about. I met his wife, whatever. I don't know about him banging his wife. I don't know if you heard that.
Yeah.
The rumor was he banged his wife in the bathroom. I didn't see that. I don't know any of that. I didn't. There was a lot of stuff. I was just kind of doing my own thing. So a lot of stuff that was on the air, I listened back for the recap just to see what they said. I was like, I don't remember that at all. I didn't see any of that happening, but I could have been somewhere else at that point. I just said hello to a lot of the new people. I didn't really interact with them too much. It was like just basically, hey, how you doing? Nice to meet you. And that was it.
It's strange that Howard didn't go, right? Because there's so many people there he would not want to see, right? Probably why he wasn't there.
Yeah. Like I sat next to Scott the engineer. He was at my table. So that was a little, that would have been awkward for them, I guess. But there was no Robin, no Fred, no Jack, not Jackie, well, Jackie, no, but no Howard, no Benji. Me and Doug were the only guys from Howard TV that were there. I think Ganji had a issue. He didn't have a babysitter or something, so he didn't make it. Yeah, I mean, everybody else is kind of showed up, and they had a good time as well. So John Hine was there. It was good to see him again. Gary, I saw. I met the new guy, Rashad. Something. I forgot how to
Wrap-up show guy, yeah.
Yeah. I met him. He was a cool guy. Then some back office people that you wouldn't really know. I met some writers and the guy Jonathan Plitt, who I know. I was surprised he was there because I know Ronnie hated that guy from what I understood from listening to the Twitter. I only see the show now on Twitter. I don't get it on Sirius. I don't listen really. I just see whatever's out on Twitter, and I, go with that. If I learn from that, that's my daily Stern Show routine.
It's a hard listen, I'll have to say. I try to give people recaps here, and it's just not what it used to be. But that's what I was trying. I don't know if you want to say what people may have said, but just the thought of the way the show is now, because it is different. It's contained to Howard's house and the.
I mean, listen. What you're hearing is what I'm hearing. People like it's changed. And I know it's changed, but like I said, I don't listen to it that much. I see what's on Twitter. I'm not listening to these in-depth interviews. I know for a fact that he did go into the studio for like Bruce Springsteen, and a couple of other guests, but mostly he's not even there. It's like it's done on Zoom, like we're doing. But I did find out
we're being more entertaining right now, by the way. Just
yeah. So I did. So Howard, I heard, wanted to do this whole Zoom thing before the pandemic even started. So like he was gearing up for what the show is now beforehand. So I was pretty surprised that like, wow, he was like kind of onto this whole thing before the pandemic happened and everybody did it. So I don't know. He's always like one step ahead of the game. I find like in things that he does. It's like, wow, holy shit, he was doing that. He was trying to do that before the pandemic started. Now everybody's doing it, and he just stayed with it. And he's doing the show from his house, and it's, how bad could that be? You wake up, you go downstairs, you do your show, and then you go back upstairs and live your life. You don't have to deal with traffic. You don't have to deal with anything.
Yeah. I work from home, and I will never want to ever go to an office myself, so I understand that part of it.
Yeah.
So.
Do you get stir crazy though at home?
No, never.
No. Okay.
No. I go out for sandwiches. I meet buddies out. I'll maybe golf here on a nice day, but I like the people I used to work with, but the matching of not having to drive into downtown St. Louis or get on the highway, I'm going to take the home thing.
Right.
I've worked in offices enough, and I've done enough like commuting to work. And our commute's not even that terrible. It's like 45 minutes. It's just I don't like it. It gives me
Right.
that's my anxiety is driving and
No, I'm the same way. I'm like the furthest I go now is Yankee Stadium, and I haven't been to Manhattan since the pandemic, which I kind of love. I'm like, I did 20 something years in Manhattan, and I'm like, you know what? That's enough. Like dealing with. I was off hours, so I was kind of lucky. But there was days where it take me 3 hours to get home. It's a fucking 45-minute drive normally with no traffic. 3 hours? It's crazy.
Yeah,
so
where are you, by the way? Where are you?
I'm in mid Long Island.
Okay.
I live in a town called Deer Park. So I'm like 40 minutes from the city. But the Long Island Expressway, if you're, there's certain times you can get on that and certain times you shouldn't be on that. And, you just got to know when to beat the traffic.
Yeah. No, I mean, we came up, I should have told you, we came up for like 48 hours or less, me and my wife, just for like she'd never been, so we did the whole everything. First thing we did, though, we got there and she stepped in human feces. Like, that was the first, we got out of the hotel and it was like the Dominican Day parade or something was happening. And it was being cleaned up. And she's like, what's with all this trash? I'm like, they do this every weekend. This is New York. Welcome.
Yeah. That's actually a sign of good luck that she did that.
Well, and then we got where we're going to dinner after the poop thing happened. We get on the elevator and there was human piss on the elevator door. I said, "Well, here you are. You wanted to see New York. Welcome."
Yeah. Well, it used to be clean for a while, and now it's going back down. I guess it's not the same as it was. Used to be that way in the '70s and '80s. Now in the '90s and the 2000s, it was pretty good. It's coming back.
Yeah.
So
the one good thing Giuliani did, I guess, is what we.
He did. Yeah, he definitely cleaned that place up. I got a good Giuliani story for you. So we were in this pitch meeting, and it was like maybe a year or so, not even a year, maybe half a year after 9/11, and Benji is the best. Benji pitched. The mayor was coming in, and he's like, all right, so how about, like, without saying a word, I'll just get up and walk over and sit next to him, and I'll just start masturbating. And we lost it. We were like, wow, that's hysterical. And Howard was like, Benji, I love that idea, but we cannot do that to the mayor. But it was like, how funny would that have been? Benji just starts jerking off in front of the mayor.
Definitely got a special mind. He has a special mind, that Benji.
He does, man. He does. He's outside the box. He definitely thinks outside the box. So that was that was a great moment in the pitch meetings. So.
Yeah, no, I sent you a bunch of things that I thought would be interesting for people to hear and just get your take on. Did you ever decide, I have an idea, I want to pitch? Did you get to go to those things? Or did you?
I wouldn't pitch so much in the meetings. If I had an idea, I'd give it to Gary, and there was a way of process. You give stuff to Gary, and Gary brings it to Howard. In the meetings, you could pitch. I just didn't want to pitch in the meeting, because I was a camera guy, and these guys are all producers, and it's kind of their job to pitch. So I would pass it along to somebody else, and maybe if they liked it, have them pitch it. But I didn't come up with anything. I would add stuff to things that were already pitched. Somebody said something, I'd be like, all right, well, we could, maybe put this guy here or shoot this way or, stuff like that. But I wasn't so much coming up with these creative ideas. I was kind of more, in the background doing the technical stuff.
Yeah, and you were the robotic guy, so you weren't out. I mean, you did a lot of the on-location shoots. We'll talk about some of those in a second. But one of the questions I had for you is just any cringe-worthy moments on the show that you, when you're driving home, went, God, I don't know if I want to be a part of that, or as you look back, go, boy, I can't believe
that I didn't want to be a part of. There was some weird shit, like back in the day, though, like, so you don't have tons of change, and shit that's not accepted now was accepted back then, and it's the same thing, So in the moment, everything was accepted. But one of the crazy things that I remember seeing was we had these conjoined twins come in, and at the head, they were both like at the head, and it was really fucking freaky to see. And one wanted to be a singer, and I forgot what the other one wanted to do. But anyway, she actually, I think they sang the national anthem at Crazy Cabby instead of John's Fight. I think that they did that. that was the only thing that I was just like, wow. Like, it was because it was such an odd sight, you know, because they were like, you know, that you don't see that every day. People joined at the head. I mean, they're together. So that was like the crazy thing, the craziest thing that I was like, wow, that was odd. But in the moment and stuff like, did you watch that special about the radio wars?
I was just going to ask you, but because it does, as I look back, I was thinking, yeah, throwing baloney at someone's ass, it's a little
Yeah,
degree.
listen, at the moment, it was what it was.
It was funny,
you know?
yeah. I mean,
And we were having a great time. Is it wrong? Maybe, but did we force them to do it? No, they came in and most of the people that came in, it was their pitch. You know, like some stuff we pitched, hey, let's do this, and they accepted it. But for the most part, like when people came on the show, like the guests, like that came off the street, they had an idea that they wanted to do. And we came in and said, okay, like this one guy came in and he goes, my wife, I love Jack Daniels and I want to drink it from my wife's vagina. And she turkey basted it and shot it out. And that was not our idea. That was their idea. So we were like, all right. I mean, the funny thing that we did was we had a camera set up. We had like a headset with a microphone, and we taped the camera to the microphone, so you saw it coming right out at you. That was, you know, pretty cool. But, you know, these ideas were not, you know, all of ours. You know, some of the people that came in said, hey, this is what I want to do, and they did it.
Did you?
So it was fun.
Yeah, I was gonna, because we were on the same wavelength there. My question was gonna be, that special made it sound like once Opie and Anthony started kind of getting way out there with what they were doing, that there was this concerted effort that Howard's like, well, we gotta go further, and that they referenced the intern beauty pageant, which back then I was like, well, it's intern.
I didn't think that was bad. I mean, listen, it was what it is. What it is. They were, you know, they had a beauty pageant. You know, I mean, listen, the girls got paid well for I mean, they got, you know, they worked for free, but whoever won, they made some good cash. So I didn't have a problem with that show either. It was like you know, it was a beauty pageant, you know. But yeah, it was interns, and it was, you know, they were college girls. It wasn't like they were underage or anything like that. It was, you know. But Howard has a thing. He knows the line. You know, he'll go right up to it and stay there. Opie and Anthony, yeah, they crossed the line a few times, I guess. You know, they got in a lot of trouble. But it's all in their way of entertaining, you know. Like I listened to Opie and Anthony in the afternoon. Like I did the Howard show in the morning, went home, turned on the radio, hung out in my backyard, listened to Opie and Anthony all afternoon. I left my ass off all day long for a good 3-4 years. It was a great time, you know. But yeah, those shows, that radio wars, there was stuff that I didn't even know about, like that Man Cow stuff. That was kind of pre when I got there. You know, I wasn't there yet, but I didn't know all of that stuff was going on. You know, some of the Opie and Anthony stuff I knew about, but there was other stuff that I, like, you know, it wasn't until later where at Sirius we worked with Opie and Anthony, and I got to be friendly with Opie. He was an Islander fan. I used to work for the Islanders, so I've seen him at the games. I put him up on the scoreboard, and we talk here and there. But I had no idea, like, they were not friends. They wouldn't even talk off the air, you know, like when they were in commercial. I had no idea about that. But, you know, we all worked together. We had, you know, our crew, you know, behind the scenes guys, and Opie and Anthony's crew behind the scenes guys, and we all got along great. You know, we were just like, you know, we didn't trade secrets or anything like that, but we all just got along and had a good time. You know, we did our thing.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a bad time for us. It was, you know, but some other people, they didn't, you know, they felt they didn't like it.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, I never got them here, so I never heard them. But Howard, it was. I mean, I got obsessed there early in the mid 2000s, like because I had to work and so I couldn't hear everything. I would tape the stuff as I left and put stuff on timers so I could hear because it was just that good. There was nothing else like it.
Right.
These moments I mentioned. Yeah, go ahead.
There was I'm just saying there was a lot of people, a lot of imitators out there, and they all kind of sucked. And Opie and Anthony kind of were the best at it, you know. Anthony does great voices, and he just would just, you know, do his thing, and it was always fucking funny, man. You know, I found it hysterical. There was another couple of guys. They weren't like Howard at all, but they were called Ron and Fez. They were the nighttime guys at NEW, which was the other station that we had. They were actually at Sirius as well, and Ron is hysterical. Ron Bennington. It doesn't even like, excuse me. doesn't even seem like he's even trying to be funny. He's just talking in general, and he's just hysterical. For me, I love him. I thought he was great. And like, I don't get starstruck that often. Not that I was starstruck, but I listen to them all the time, and I always see them in Sirius, but I never went up to them and said, "Hey, man, I'm a big fan." Like, I just didn't want to be that guy, you know. So it wasn't until a couple of years later, Florentine was doing a comedy gig with Ron, and I got to meet him in person. And I said, "Hey, Ron, I used to work at Sirius with you, and blah blah blah." And I just always found your show hysterical. And he's like, "Oh, thanks," you know. I go, "Yeah, I used to work at Howard." He goes, "Yeah, we were never allowed. We weren't allowed on that side of the station, you know." It was kind of funny because like there was an edict that, you know, nobody should be on Howard's end of the compound, you know, stay away. So I go, "Yeah, I guess, you know, I guess so."
What a diva. That's the end of part one. Part two coming shortly, sooner than later. We'll talk about more from Ronnie's wedding, more of Artie Lange and his struggles and the fun they had, and more about the Jesus Twins and other situations on the show. Appreciate you coming by. Make sure you like and subscribe, and check out my description for the link to the shirt shop. Part two coming soon. So subscribe and you'll see it when it shows up.